Birdland gets to ask you some questions. And you get to answer them, man. Let's go to our first one.
Okay.
Ready for these?
I like this.
That's right. I love this segment when they told me. Here's one. Hey, Rick, when a team is rebuilding like the Orioles are this season, how do you judge success and failure? That is from Chris Maurer from New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, Chris, good question. It really has to begin right now because this team has been stripped down. Everybody's getting an opportunity to play, but it starts with the manager. The manager needs the respect of his players, first of all, and he's got to develop a nucleus for this ball club to go into the future with. Developing hard-nosed players comes from the coaches just as much as the manager. Now, everybody has their division. The pitching coach, Doug Brocal, the catching coach, Tim Cousins. These guys are the two most important of the coaches, although Flores and Hernandez are very important because they're our Latin connection. At the same time, we have a lot of good Latin players on this team. They got to kind of understand that things have got to change. They have to take control of this ball club. Once you develop the leadership and the attitude that you have to have in order to win, then this team will start taking off. Once that starts happening, you know, and it's hard to evaluate success and failure right now. I know they're not winning ball games, but it doesn't mean that these guys aren't coming slowly together. They got a couple of guys that I really like. VR is one of those kind of guys who could take that leadership role. He can do a lot of things. You can see Mancini has really taken charge. He's more like lead by example sort of guy, not outspoken, but there's certainly some things that we can work on to develop this team camaraderie, this team leadership that's really going to take this ball club and get better and better as the season goes on. I'm not too worried about the losing streak right now. I'm worried about the attitude of the players, letting them know that they do not want to accept failure.
Hey,
and that's where we go.
Question number 2. That's a great answer right there. This is from Nicholas Colley. It says, hey, Rick, do you think it's best for Cedric Mullins to stay on the Major League roster, or could he benefit from some time in AAA?
You know, that's a hard question to ask. It depends. Coaches, maybe the general manager has to give some information here. It's really all about Cedric Mullins' attitude about what's going on right now and his work ethic. Is he putting in the time out there? Is he learning the things that he needs to learn? Is he fighting for that job in center field? I think those are key questions that they can only answer because they know what goes on in the clubhouse at the same time. He's got all the tools we need to be a great center fielder. We've seen him make some great catches. He's hitting the cutoff man. He's learning little things about it. We got to get that offense going, you know, knowing when to bunt, when to bring the infield in, that sort of thing. You know, all of a sudden it could change overnight. And you know, a lot of guys have had trouble early on, maybe even for half a season. And, you know, if everything works out properly and he really gives 100%, he could come on strong, but I think it's too early to give up on him.
It's also about not being overwhelmed either, right? Right. Third question for Rick Dempsey. And hey, Rick, Paul Brown, what adjustments have led to Mancini's start?
Patience. Patience is the difference over last year. He hasn't really changed anything mechanically. He's not doing anything different standing up there. Last year, he got impatient because the batting average was too low. He taught himself a little something, though, about worrying about batting average is not going to help. He just goes up there now. He knows what he can do with the pitch on the outside corner. He is aggressively patient. He'll expand the strike zone and hit a high pitch every now and then. He might hit a low one a little bit off the plate. But when he gets ready to swing, he lets it go. Doesn't worry about whether it's going to be a line drive at anybody. It's paying its dividends because he is wearing out right field right now.
Of course, if you have any questions for Rick Dempsey, hashtag it with Hey Rick.